You should get the furnace serviced. So a furnace is an appliance that heats your house. You should make sure that it's working properly. It is very important that the house stays warm in the winter. So you will call someone to come and service your furnace, not necessarily every year, but maybe every 2 years or every 5 years. You will have a professional person come to service your furnace. Check the windows. So an interesting thing happens. Sometimes around your windows, there's something called caulking, and it can fall out. And then you will find out there's a draft by that window. So usually about once a year or every other year, we go around and we check the windows to see if there are any spots where air can blow in. And then you can find different things. You can buy different things to put around the window to stop it. Half of our windows are, sorry, I'm trying to think about how to say this. Most of our windows are fairly new, so we don't have this problem. But when our windows were older, before we had them replaced, we often did this. We would check and then kind of make sure, put the markers along the driveway. Many of you see this in my lessons and ask, what are all those orange sticks that you put along your driveway? This person has put orange sticks along the sidewalk. We sometimes put orange sticks along our driveways because when it snows, you can't tell what is driveway and what is grass. And people sometimes drive on the grass or on the lawn. So when we know winter is coming, before the ground freezes, we often will put out these orange stakes or sticks. Some of them are reflective so that people know where the driveway is so that they don't drive on the lawn. Bring in outdoor plants. If you have any plants in pots, most plants do not like winter. They die, and so you might bring them in. Sometimes you leave them out until they go dormant in the fall. So sometimes when plants sense cold weather, they stop growing and they go dormant, and then you put them in the garage or in the basement where they won't freeze, so that next spring you can take them out again. You might get out the sleds. Sometimes we have to find the sleds when winter is coming because we might want to go sledding or what is sometimes called tobogganing. So you might go and get out the sleds so that they're ready to use. By the way, sleds don't work very well when they're warm. So we often keep our sleds in the garage where it's colder or even outside because a warm sled, when you put it on the snow, just melts the snow and it sticks. So we often get the sleds out early so they're ready to use. By the way, sledding is when you slide down a hill on the snow on a sled. It is a lot of fun. You might find your skates if you're someone who likes to skate. You might get out your skis. You might get out your skates. We have skates that we keep in our basement in storage. So in the fall and late fall, when winter is approaching, we will find our skates. Sometimes it's hard to find because I share my skates with my son. So I have to figure out who used them last and where they are. You'll need to prepare to leave early, or you'll need to start to leave early. What this means is that when winter comes, it takes longer to get to work because you need to drive slower. So yesterday, I drove about 70 kilometers an hour on my way to work. The speed limit is 80 kilometers an hour, and usually I drive 90 kilometers an hour. I drive a little bit faster than the speed limit. But when it starts to snow, when the roads start to get a bit of snow and ice on them, you need to slow down. Sometimes I can only drive 50 kilometers an hour on my way to work if it's really snowy, if it's hard to see. So you need to prepare to leave early or be ready to leave early for work for the whole winter. You need to start setting your alarm earlier because you need to clean off the car, you need to start the car, and then you will need to drive more slowly on the way to work. If you have a generator, you might want to fuel up the generator. Winter sometimes brings really bad storms. So sometimes it's a good idea to be prepared for a power outage. If the power goes out, if there's no electricity for a day, you need a generator in order to run your furnace and to run a heater and to keep your house warm. So it's always good to fuel up your generator. So this depends on the type of tap you have, but you might want to turn off outside taps. Outside taps are interesting because this is an outside tap. When you turn it, the mechanism is on the inside of the house where it's warm. That's how an outside tap works. So you don't really have to turn them off. I guess that's a bad way to describe it. But you have to make sure there's no hose connected to it, and that part that goes through the wall can drain freely. Hopefully I explained that well, and you understand what I am saying. So you need to drain everything. If you have any garden hoses outside, you should drain them. Garden hoses outside, you should drain them. If you have a bird bath, you should empty it. If you have anywhere where water can freeze, you should take the water out when you are getting ready for winter. Because water, when it freezes, expands. So if you have a cup of water and you freeze it, there will be more ice when it's frozen than there was water. And that is very destructive. Water can break things very easily. Water is very strong when it freezes. When it turns to ice and it expands, it can break bird baths. If you have a water pump outside with water in it, it will break the steel. It will break everything. Water, we drain everything. So drain means to take the water out of it. You should put away your patio furniture, and you should clean up the yard. Once it starts to snow, it can be quite a mess. Snow is beautiful, but there are certain things you do not want to have outside. So this is outdoor furniture, or what we call patio furniture. And there's even a barbecue on the far side there. Let me make it a bit bigger. You want to put away your patio furniture, or at least cover it. Some people have special covers for their patio furniture. And you'll want to do this for a couple reasons. One, it will get covered in snow. And two, it might blow away. Like, it gets really windy in the winter as well. You also want to clean up your yard. Oh, let me check the focus here. We're all good. You don't want to leave things out in the winter because when it snows, they get covered. So if you leave a shovel on the lawn and it snows, and then you're out running with your dog, you might step on the shovel and trip. So it's a good idea to clean everything up so that your yard is nice and tidy and ready for winter. Always fill up. This is something you should do if you know bad weather is coming. So in the winter, something that's different than the summer, I don't often let my car get all the way to empty. Often when it's just below half or when it's at a quarter tank, I'll fill up. Because you don't always know when it's going to snow again. And more importantly, you don't know if you might get stuck. Either maybe you go off the road or you're in a traffic jam. And if you're doing that for a long period of time, you have to keep your car running to stay warm. So it's not, I don't know if everyone does this, but I keep my cars full. Like if it's half a tank, I'll fill up. Especially if I know bad weather is coming.
Bad weather is coming.
You need to wear layers. You can see I'm already doing that. I'm wearing 2 layers. When I put my coat on, I will have 3 layers. The best way to stay warm in cold weather is to wear layers. So when you're getting ready for winter, you will probably look for an extra t-shirt to wear underneath. Sometimes I'll wear 4 layers. I'll wear a t-shirt, a shirt with a collar, a sweater, and a coat when I go outside. When you wear layers, you stay warmer. Just it's kind of a funny thing that people might not understand, but if you wear a t-shirt another shirt, a sweater, a vest, and then a coat, you will be really warm. The layers will keep you warm. So when you wear layers, this guy, it looks like he's wearing 1, 2, 3. He's probably wearing at least 4 layers of clothing. That will really help him stay warm. So getting ready for winter, you need to make sure you have the clothes you need to wear layers. Buy salt. This is a little controversial as well because it's not good for the environment, but salt will melt ice. So if you have a walkway in front of your house, if there's an area where you've cleared the snow away, but there's still ice, usually we will put salt on the ice to melt it. For some reason, salt and ice together, salt changes the freezing temperature of the water, so it will actually melt the ice. We do this a little bit on our front walkway. We usually put down some salt so that you don't slip and fall. So in order to do that, you need to buy salt in order to get ready for winter. Check to make sure the humidifier is working. A humidifier is an appliance that puts moisture into the air. It puts water into the air. When you heat your home, the air becomes drier. It's just a natural process. So some people will have a humidifier so that they can keep the air in their home more humid. And so you might want to check the humidifier to make sure it is working. You might want to change the furnace filter. The furnace is again the appliance that heats your home. And if you have one that has air going through it, there's usually a filter in it. In order for the furnace to work correctly, you should change your furnace filter. You should actually do this a lot more often than you might realize. We usually change ours every 6 to 8 weeks. But yes, you should change the furnace filter so the furnace runs properly. And then test your smoke alarms. So you should make sure they have fresh batteries in them and make sure they're working properly. Because you are going to start heating your home, that means somewhere in your home there is a flame, like a furnace burns gas. A wood stove burns wood. You are using fire of some form to keep your house warm. So you should make sure that your smoke alarm and your CO2 detectors are all working properly. So make sure you do that. And then when you use your windshield wipers, you can squirt washer fluid onto your window. You should make sure you have winter washer fluid.
You need
almost all washer fluid won't freeze, but winter washer fluid is even better. So this one goes down to minus 34 Fahrenheit. So that's really cold. This will not freeze. So it just is a good idea to have the right kind of washer fluid in your car. And then make sure you have flashlights and batteries. Sometimes in the winter the power goes out and it's hard to see in the dark. In most countries that experience winter, it's also the time of year when the days are the shortest and the nights are the longest. Right now, at 4:45 in the afternoon, it starts to get dark here. By 5:15, 5:30, it is dark. And then it doesn't get light out again until 6 in the morning or something like that. So it's a very dark time of year. It's a time of year where there could be storms and the power might go out. So it's always a good idea to have flashlights and batteries. Most of the time we just charge our phones.